Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer. Welcome back to European Truck Simulator 2, and welcome back to Tornio in Finland, Finland or Norway. I want to say it's right on the line. It's right on the line. Yeah, it's like, well, it's not right on the line. It's on the Finland side. So I did off camera. Tell you what, let me close this for a second. Off camera, I did, as I said I was going to. I did get us in another truck. We are in our Volvo. And this is the HiorthHamn Volvo, and it's now being run by Pendragon, I want to say. But this is, to me, this is a classic mod. I love this truck. I do. We used to have it as a rigid, but it didn't get converted over for 1.33, I think. And so I took it to just a 2-axle, just a regular articulated lorry. And on the back, we've got our pin trailer, our short pin trailer, and this is new for, I think, 1.33. That's one of the new ownable trailers. And then we've got a fuel canister on it, and we're taking it, let me go back to the map, we're taking it, this is a little bit, I don't know how I feel about this. We're taking it to, the island is called Longyearbyen, and the town is called, tell you what, if I go back here now, and then open this, and then open that, and then go here, no, not there. Oh, man, it's a Sunday morning for me. And then go there. HiorthHamn, I think, is the name of the town, but I don't know. So I'll tell you why that island is a little, I don't know where I'm at with it. I like things, kind of different, but I feel sometimes like the things like that, they're a little almost gimmicky, if that makes sense, with it being like way out there. I like things that are novel. I like things that are kind of unique and challenging, but I don't like things that are gimmicky. And that island, I mean, it's all the same to us because the time you spend on the boat goes by in just a few seconds. You sort of skip ahead that time. But it seems like you know what I mean? You know what I mean. You always know what I mean. So, I don't know. I mean, we're going to make the trip. We're going to make the trip and we'll go from there. But it's going to take a while to get up there because it seems like, there we go. It was already up and I put it down. It seems like it's just like a little, hop, skip, and a deedly-deet to get up to the port where we'll take off for that island, but it's actually going to take us a few days to get there. But that's okay. When I say a few days, I mean a few trips, a few episodes. Sir. But what's funny is when we do get there, that island is so small, you can drive from one side to the other use my words. You can drive from one side of the island to the other in just a few minutes. So it'll be quick. The ferry will be quick, and then once we get there, it will be quick. So anyway, that's what's going on. What kind of week has it been for you? It's been an interesting week for me. I've done some things, and I'll tell you about them, because that's what we do here on the channel. I drive a truck, and I tell you about video games. Kind of like that arrangement. Right, so I got Monster Energy Supercross 2. And I say the full name. The reason I say the full name, is it that one? No, it's this one. The reason I say the full name is because it is a product. I mean, I guess we could give it a nickname. I don't always call this Euro Truck Simulator 2. Sometimes I call it ETS. So I'll give it a nickname. I don't know. Maybe I'm doing that because it's a relatively new game, and if you're thinking about getting it, I want you to get the right game. I don't know. Just a habit. Anyway, I got that, and I got Dirt Rally 2.0. And I wanted to give you my thoughts on both of them once we get through this intersection here. And I'm going to stay to the left. Yeah, there we go. It's a pretty short trailer. Certainly shorter than that big Craker we were hauling a couple weeks ago. Right, lift axle is down. We slide over one lane. There we go. So, the Supercross game, Monster Energy Supercross 2. I like it, but to me, just for me personally, I don't think it has legs, and here's why. To me, any type of racing other than on pavement, tarmac, to me, it's a little bit, I don't want to say gimmicky. I don't want to use that word again. But maybe. And I think the thing about it is, for me, road racing is, it's all about like repeatability. It's all about like finding that perfect lap. And I understand the track will change a little bit during the race. Or if it rains, it'll change a lot. But for the most part, you're just trying to do the same thing over and over, very consistently. You know, they say Michael Schumacher back in the day, he would come in from testing and he'd say, oh, you know, it was terrible. It was a wasted lap. I was all over the place. And they're looking at the telemetry and they're looking at the numbers and they're like, no, dude, you were like 0.08 of a second off your projected pace. You're fine. And he's like, no, I was way out of shape coming through a corner. And they look at the tape and they're like, what are you talking about? And he was just a couple inches off the line that he wanted to be on, but he could feel it. He could tell. Like, that's how finite it is. That's how repeatable laps need to be in motorsport. I think I like that part of racing on pavement. So when I think about something like that Supercross game, every lap is different because there's motorcycles throwing themselves in front of you, and there's the track gets rutted, and it's like every lap is different. And I understand that there is definitely an appeal to that because it's like you're solving a new set of problems every lap. And the same could be said to some extent in road racing. But it's just different. It's one of those things. It's just different. I don't have necessarily an explanation or a rationale for it, but for me personally, I love the repeatability of motorsport on road. And I love that. I love that they blink their main beams at you if you don't get yours turned down fast enough. So, yeah, it's not, just for me personally, it's not necessarily a game that I could see really sticking with for a long time. And I think what keeps me coming back to racing games more than anything else is that repeatability. You know, it's almost like, I don't want to say like a happy place, but you know what I mean? You can go to any track in any serious racing sim, and you know exactly what you're going to get, and it's like I don't know, maybe like an island of stability in an ocean of chaos. You know what I'm saying? And then a motocross game, just for me, it's a little bit chaotic too. So I feel like it's maybe not quite the same. What's the word I'm looking for? You know what I'm saying. Sometimes when I'm gaming, I want a little bit of stability, predictability. I think I've said it a couple different ways, but I still don't know if I'm getting the point across. But I think you see what I'm getting at. I like things linear sometimes, and I find that game to be not super linear. It's a little bit, yeah. So it's fun. It's definitely fun. But I don't know if it's going to be a game that I'll come back to week after week for years. And Dirt Rally 2.0, all the tracks, or all the rallies, I guess they're not tracks, but all the courses, all the rallies, are like exactly different than Dirt Rally. And what I realized about that is if you put the two together, you get like all the rallies in the world. Right? And that, I wouldn't say it pissed me off, but that sort of like brought it home to me that I really feel like it should have been a DLC. Now the graphics are different. I don't rally sim enough to be able to say definitively that the physics are like markedly different or markedly better. You know? I mean, I guess I can feel a little bit of a difference. The graphics, same way, a little bit of a difference. But for the most part, the biggest thing that's different for me are the courses, are the rallies. The cars are mostly the same too. Some of the liveries are different. But I put it all together and I think, man, this really should have been like, it's just my opinion, I think this really should have been a DLC. And what that would give you then is, like I said earlier, all the famous rally courses, all the famous rallies in the world you would have in one sim. But for them to split it up like that, it's like, okay, great. So now I have better graphics and potentially better physics, same cars, but I lost all the rallies that I had in Dirt Rally 1. So I don't know. I mean, it's good, but now I feel like, you know what I mean? Like, I have WRC7, which I think it's hilarious that is like the official game of World Rally, and it's got the most arcade physics of any rally sim, any major rally sim. Not so good. Not so good. And the graphics are, I mean, from one angle, they're pretty good. From another angle, it's kind of an arcade game. And I've told you my theory on that, is that the folks that run WRC, which is WRC part of FIA? I don't know. It might be. Anyway, I feel like they want the game to sell because they want to promote their brand. They want to grow their brand. And I feel like if they had made a super realistic sim, they may have scared off some casual gamers, console gamers, and would not get the same brand exposure as they would if they made, I guess, more of a fun game. But bottom line, WRC7 has like every rally, and it's got the special stages and stadium stages, and you know what I mean? Dirt Rally doesn't have any of those things. Now, that could be because Dirt Rally, I think, got the cold shoulder from WRC. Like, they wanted to be straight up, and they didn't get it because, now, be careful saying this because I think I know what I'm talking about. Dirt Rally is made by Codemasters. Codemasters also makes the official F1 sim, which is, that is FIA as well, is it not? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, there's like the brand, you know, FOM is Formula One. That's the brand. FIA is like the governing body. I don't know. You see what I'm getting at. So they already have an affiliation with Formula One, and that's, you know, that's about as big as it gets in motorsport. I'm surprised the Codemasters was not able to pull off the second part of the hat trick and get WRC as well, because I know they make a pretty solid F1 sim. Although, as always, there's a certain part of the audience that says, "No, man, that's fake too. That's just an arcade game." But I guess what I'm saying is that Codemasters and the Dirt franchise did not get they didn't get the official nod from WRC, and so they don't, you know what I mean? It's not a for real rally sim because it can't be hooked up with WRC. So maybe that gives them some latitude in their selection of tracks and courses. But I just, I would love to do a full season of rally, and you just can't do it in Dirt Rally 1 or 2. So for me, the solution would be to combine all the tracks so you could have one like 17 rally season or whatever. I don't think that's going to happen. It's not a deal breaker, but for me, it makes it, well, now it makes both of those rally sims almost like a beta. You get a beta and it's like, there's not too many cars, there's not too many tracks. It'll just give you a feel for the graphics and the physics. Okay. But that's what Dirt Rally 2 feels like to me. It just feels like, this is cool. Where's the rest? Oh, there is no rest. That's it. That's all you get. So, I don't know. Same thing. I'm glad I got it, but is it worth it? Hard to say. Hard to say. But man, it's well, and that, I guess that leads into the next thing, which is I got, I said I wasn't going to do something. It's like almost a guarantee that I'll do it. I said I wasn't going to get the Division 2, and there were a couple reasons why. One reason was I was really not convinced that it would play very well on my machine at all. Division 1, I can get, if I don't really have to potato the graphics, but I gotta dial them back. There's no ultras. I don't have anything on ultra. I got most things on high, a couple things on medium, and I can hit a solid 60 FPS. And you know what? The game is so gorgeous that I feel like even with the graphics turned down, the graphics are still looking pretty good. I mean, when you crank them up, if you see that game on Ultra and 4K, it's like watching a movie. It's crazy. But it still looks pretty good on my machine. I think it does, and it plays at 60 FPS or close to. If there's a lot of explosions going off at once, a lot of fire and smoke and flame on the screen, it'll back down a little bit. But for the most part, I can maintain 60 FPS. Well, I was not convinced that I would be able to do that in the Division 2, and sure enough, I can't. It's a 2019 AAA next gen game. No, of course I can't. What I can do is take the graphics down a little bit more than I did on the Division 1. Division 1, I'm mostly high, a little bit of medium. On Division 2, I'm mostly medium, a couple on high. Game still looks pretty good to me, I have to say, but I'm beginning to, get to a point when I dial my graphics back that far. I'm beginning to get to a point where even I can recognize and admit, okay, I have potatoed my graphics. But I'm getting, 40 FPS, 30 to 40. It works. But here's the thing that I noticed about the game. There are some things that are different. They've improved some things. It's buggy as hell. Now it's a beta, but today's what? Today's the 3rd? Today's the 4th? Today's the 3rd of March. That game comes out the 12th? I don't know, man. Looks like they got a lot of work to do in the next 9 days. It doesn't look like beta to me. It looks like early access. There's a ton of bugs. But the weirdest thing for me about the game is to realize that even just playing the beta, I don't want to say I'm already hooked, but I'm sort of already hooked. And for that reason, loading a tile. For that reason, I think I'm definitely not going to get that game. Now, the other reason I'm not going to is because it's $100. And again, it's kind of more of the same. It's obviously based on the Division. There goes my voice. It's obviously based on the Division. So it is the Division. It's the Division 2. Different city. The user interface is changed a little bit. Some of the ways that things happen are changed a little bit, as far as the looting system and modding weapons. But it's basically the same thing. And what it is you go out, you pay $100 so you can spend time in a video game chasing down non-existent items, guns and body armor and stuff that you can use to make yourself stronger, which makes it possible for you to go to other areas of the map to get better loot, which makes you stronger so you can go to other areas of the map. It's an RPG. I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to do that for $100. I feel like I've put enough time into the Division, and it sort of pulled me away from my true love, which is sim gaming. And it was nice. I feel like it was nice during the winter, it was just kind of a change of pace, almost like having an affair. But do I want to do that again? And do I want to continue doing that? And the answer is no, not really. And so for that reason, I'm really glad that I played the beta, because it saved me spending $100 on the game, which ironically enough, if I had done that, if I had bought the game, it would make me feel like I kind of had to play it. Well, I spent $100 on it. And $100 is kind of a magic number. I mean, it's not that much money anymore. It's really not. It's a shame. I'm getting old. $100 is $100 used to be a lot of money. It's not a lot of money. And at the same time, it's still kind of a lot of money. $100 is like 100 miles an hour. A lot of people will go fast. They say, I drive super fast, but they rarely drive over 100. 100 is like a magic number in a car. And even in a nice car that can totally handle it, M3 or something, or Corvette. Going over 100 is like, wow, I'm really going fast. And it's not so much like I'm going to have an accident. It's just, I'm just going fast, so much faster than everybody else. 100 is kind of when people back off. And I feel like $100 is the same way. It doesn't matter how old you are. Like if you lose a 20, you might not go back to look for it. If you lose a 50, depending on what kind of a hurry you're in, you may or may not go back and look for it. But if you lose 100, it's like, it just doesn't matter how much money you have, and it doesn't matter how late you are. It's like, yeah, I'm gotta go take a look for that, man. That's $100. It's just, even if it's not really a significant amount of money, it's just like, it's like a token amount. It's like a magic number. And the Division with a pass and a couple DLC thrown in, which is how you have to do it because they price it that way specifically. But it's $100. And that's not an amount of money that I want to waste. So I think I'm going to skip that. Oh, plus, and I talked to my team, my crew, and they said you're never going to put it on the channel, so it's not going to grow the channel. So why do it? And it's a good point. I already spend probably too much time gaming. I would rather spend the time that I spend sim gaming and not shooter gaming, particularly a shooter that's not even a shooter. It's an RPG. So, yeah, I'm going to have to take a pass on that one. So that is the third sim. Yeah, first two are Monster Energy Supercross, Dirt Rally 2.0, and then I got the beta for the Division, and what's the last one? Oh, the last one is Arma 3. Arma 3, I'm all about Arma 3, which is another shooter. And I have to say, that is... I talked about this a lot last episode, and I will confirm it is still true this episode. Be careful what you wish for, because I wanted a legit tactical shooter, and my goodness, man, Arma 3 is a legit tactical shooter. And you know what's crazy about that game is there are so many controls and key commands. I'm playing it on a gamepad, and that's a weird thing. I'm going to circle back to that in a second, but I'm playing it on a gamepad, and as I'm going to like the various Reddit threads and things like that, what I see over and over is people saying, "Oh no, dude, you cannot play that on a gamepad. There are too many commands, too many keyboard commands, plus the accuracy. You have to play it with mouse and keyboard." Now, here's something funny. I have a Logitech G13 gaming panel, which I got in lieu of the SciTech panel. I needed basically a button box for Farm Sim, and I got the G13 specifically for that. But I've never used it for what it's intended for. And what it's intended for is when you play a shooter, mouse and keyboard, obviously you've got the mouse in your right hand, and then you've got your left hand on the keyboard. Well, this is like a mini keyboard with a palm rest and a thumbstick and various other things, and it's specifically meant to be the keyboard half of mouse and keyboard for an MK game, specifically a shooter. And then I've got a super high DPI gaming mouse with like 50 buttons on it and a ton of macros, so that's perfect for shooters as well. So for things, zooming and switching weapons, throwing a grenade, I can do all that from my mouse. But I don't. I use that mouse as a mouse, and the only time I use that G13 panel is to use it as a side panel for Farm Sim, and I rarely do that anymore. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to try it, because so many people in these threads are saying, oh no, this is a mouse and keyboard game. And they're right. They really are right, because there are so many controls. I did time that because I was worried if I slowed down, that next car would try to sneak out. They're right. It is absolutely a mouse and keyboard game. But here's what's weird. I get so immersed in these games, and I have fantastic vibration, and obviously there's no force feedback on a gamepad, but I have really, really good vibration. I've got a Razer Wildcat Tournament. I don't know how many vibration motors this thing has in it, but it is unbelievable, the tactile sensations that it can give you. It's crazy. It's just a couple of motors in there with a little eccentric weight that spins. How does that work? I don't know, and they make it work. But I'm so used to getting that little thump in my controller when I shoot a gun, and it's really good in the Division. Probably the best of any shooter I've ever played. But everything, like every grenade going off in the distance, every gunshot, every time you get shot, even when you do something like get in an elevator, when the elevator moves, your controller jerks just a little bit. And I didn't realize how important that was to my gameplay till I played Arma 3 on mouse and keyboard, and it really becomes kind of a disconnected experience. And that got me thinking about something too, and I think I told you about this when it happened, but I'll tell you about it again now. I was playing the Division. I ended up with a group of pugs, and it was going okay, but you could tell that they were kids. They were kind of yakking a little bit on the headset, old school Xbox Live kind of chatter, although obviously not as nasty as Xbox Live used to get. But they were chattering a little bit, and you get loadouts in the division. You get you set your gear up a particular way, and then you can save that as a loadout, and you can very quickly switch from one set to the other, which is like, I guess you could say like changing clothes. Okay, fair enough. But then you can also switch guns when you do that. So you can have like kind of a CQB setup with a submachine gun and a shotgun and a shield, and then you can swap that out for like a sniper set, which has much lighter armor but long guns with a ton of damage, or whatever. You get what I'm saying. So we were getting ready to transition from one part of a mission to another, and one of these kids said, hey, Portable, which is my screen name, hey, Portable, switch over to, something. And I said, no, man, I don't do that. And they said, what are you talking about? And I said, I don't switch, I don't roll on Shabbat. I don't switch my gear during a mission because you couldn't do that in real life. And they're like, yeah, dude, no shit, but this isn't real life. It's a fucking video game. Switch your gear set, switch your loadout. And I was like, no, man, I don't do that. I'm immersed. I play realistically. And they were like, realistically? What are you talking about, dude? It's a video game. Like, what are you, mental? Like, what do you think, you're like really a soldier fighting? You think you're really a soldier fighting bad guys? Come on, man. And I realized at that moment that different people play video games very, very differently. And I sort of knew this, but that really brought it home to me that, like, we on the sim side, we're all about immersion, And, I've talked about this before in videos too. My dad, when I was a kid, my dad took me to this huge private model railroad in a warehouse. They were having an operating session, and these old dudes, old model railroad dudes, were wearing like those little stripy railroad coveralls, and they were wearing the little hats, not the conductor hat, like the engineer hat, and they had little clipboards and little pocket watches, and they were like pretending to be engineers. I don't necessarily take it that far. I don't put on like, special gaming clothes when I sim. I'm not dressed like a truck driver right now. But I really want to be as realistic a sim gamer as possible. And we're all into that. We love that. But a lot of people are not. A lot of gamers are not into that. And not only are they not into it, but they think it's weird. Like, dude, it's just a video game. What are you, like, you really think you're doing this? And no, of course we don't really think we're doing it, but we are trying to do it as realistically as possible. But I realize that there are a lot of people when they game that they're just like pushing buttons in a specific order to make a specific thing happen, but they could care less about what's on the screen. They're just, you know what I mean? That they're playing memory games. And when I say that, like, I mean, you can reduce any video game to a memory game by just remembering if you do certain things at certain times, then certain results will occur. And a badly designed game, particularly something, again, like a shooter, when you step through a specific doorway, a specific enemy is going to spawn. Okay, so after you've done that mission enough times, that before you step through that doorway, you need to, get a grenade ready, you need to do this, you need to do that. It's just a question of, now these two enemies are going to come out from this side, and you have to, like, do a jump roll in front of them and then land behind the counter and immediately duck. And at that point, it's like old school Tomb Raider, Run, pause, jump to the side, wait for the blade to come through, then jump behind it and shoot the tiger. And that's, I mean, to me, that's not really, it's not really doing it. So I guess the point of all that is to say that when I was playing Arma 3 mouse and keyboard, I did not feel immersed at all. But it does make playing the game a lot easier. But for me, it just reduced it to, like, I don't know, man, just making, like, pixels move around on a screen. I was not immersed at all. And that just really brought it home to me. Like, there are really different ways to play video games, and the way that we play them as sim gamers, not everybody does that. And not everybody wants to. That is, like, a lot of people, they just don't get down like that. So, yeah, man, that's my game report for the week. And I'll tell you one other funny thing. I'm going to start looking for a place to pull over. And actually, I could have pulled over right back there. I just realized there was kind of a leave by, and I could have hopped off there and ended the episode because we're at 30 minutes. But find someplace quick enough. So here's the other funny thing that happened. It was moving day yesterday. Moved to a new Airbnb. And I booked this place. You know, Airbnb, you're rolling the dice, man. You really are. We're getting up to the North Cape, by the way. This is a pretty part of the map. In fact, if we had made a left, we just made a right. If we had made a left, that would take you up that, like, long, narrow, I don't want to say one way, but it's like one road in, one road out, all the way up to the north. And there's a town I want to pick up a cargo from. We'll probably do it on the way back. But yeah, this is the North Cape. This is a beautiful part of the map, beautiful part of ProMods. If you haven't been up here, definitely check it out. So I booked this place, and you know, Airbnb, you're rolling the dice. It is what it is. So I get to the place, I get out, I knock on the door, nobody answers. And I text the host, and I'm like, "Are you home? What's up?" And they're like, "What address did you go to?" And I text back, the address in the listing. Like the address that was released and emailed to me when I paid you a lot of money. And they're like, "Oh yeah, no, don't go to that address. Go to another address." And I text back, like, "Why would I go to another address? Why am I not going to the address that's in the listing?" And the guy says, "Oh, it's wrong. Go to this other address." Okay. So I go to the other address, it's a few miles away. And I get there, I knock on the door, and guy opens the door, and he's Eastern European. And I say, "What's going on, man?" And he says, "Oh, Map did that." And I was like, "Map did that?" And he's like, "Yeah, Map pick address. It's not accurate." And I'm like, "Really? Like Airbnb just randomly picked a spot on the map and said, 'This is your listing'?" And he was like, "Yeah, something like that." And I'm like, "Okay, so let's check the place out." He shows me around, and I'm like, "Dude, this is not in any of the pictures. Like, what is going on? You got my money, my real money, and now you're showing me like an Airbnb property. Well, I can't even call it an Airbnb property. You're showing me a property that is like not the one that I paid for. You see what's going on here? Like, you've got my money, but I don't have what's in the picture." And he's like, "Oh yeah, but it's same size. It's good. It's the same size." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, that's not how it works. Here in America, you get what you pay for, and I already paid you, so this is not going to work at all. I'm afraid I got to call Airbnb and ask for a refund." And he was like, "Oh, no, don't do that. Okay, we moved. And I was like, "Why didn't you update the listing?" And he said, "We moved." And I'm like, "Yeah, we covered that, but why didn't you update the listing?" And he didn't really give me an answer. So I went outside, called Airbnb. Their customer service is pretty good when it's stuff like this. She said, "We'll need some proof." And I said, "How about a screenshot?" I think I'm going to pull it. Is this a gas station? Is this a service area? Doesn't matter. We're pulling in. I called Airbnb, and she said, "We're going to need some proof." And I was like, "How about a screenshot of him giving me an address different than the one that's in the listing?" And she was like, "Yep, that'll do." So I did a screenshot from my phone, and I texted it to her, emailed it to her, whatever. And like 5 minutes later, the refund went into my PayPal account, and diddly do. There you go. I'm going to come out here and get a thumbnail. We're at about 30 minutes. How far did we make it? Did we even make it halfway? Oh, yeah, we made it way more than halfway. Oh, shoot. Do you want to go the rest of the way now? It's only right up there. You know what? Let's just do it. I didn't know how close we were. I guess I could have checked the map. All right, so now I got to get us turned around. So, put her in gear. Brake is off. Pop that lift axle up. Now, I am, I'm thinking. Nope. You know what? I'm going to end it here. I'm going to end it here. Go back around here. Go back around here for a screenshot. Yep, right there. Folks, thanks for stopping back to check out the Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of European Truck Simulator. And we'll see you next time. Take care now.